If only I had a cool new lure to add to my tackle box. Let me look on Amazon, see what they have. The Squirm by DeLong Fishing Lures. Yeah, why not? Let's pick some up. Hey everybody, what's going on? Brendan Miller here, back with another episode of Weird Fishing Lures. Today we're taking a look at a very interesting lure. As you saw from the opening sequence, this lure was actually advertised to me on Amazon. I saw the ad for it. I thought, that looks kind of weird, that looks kind of odd, so I ended up buying some. And here is the bait right here. It's by a company called DeLong. They've been around since 1946, which is awesome. This bait's also made in America, and it is scented with anise, which is a type of spice. And I have to say, this bait does smell good. But without further ado, it's time to open this thing up. And here is the bait from DeLong. As you can see, it is a soft plastic bait. It comes pre-rigged, and it definitely has a very bizarre shape to it, as you can see right there. So what are my initial first impressions of this bait? Well, first of all, I have to say, these legs do kind of stick out a little bit more than I thought they would. I was sent a couple different colors of this bait, and the chartreuse one, when I pulled it out of the package, the legs almost stuck straight out. I have to say, when I saw the overall shape and design of this bait, I was imagining something a little more similar to like a silicone skirt on a jig, but if you take a closer look at the individual legs, you will see that these are actually like individual little plastic worms. They are rounded on the top, but also have a flat bottom. So this was very interesting. Again, I wasn't really expecting it. Again, it's interesting and kind of weird. I am by no means terrified of spiders. However, I would prefer if spiders didn't crawl on me. And there's something about this profile and this bait, it like conjures up a primal urge inside me to like not touch it. This profile kind of looks like a hybrid between an octopus, a spider, and a creepy hand. So yes, very interesting bait. Again, it kind of creeps me out a little bit, and I'm not sure why. So when it comes to the actual plastic construction of this bait, I have to say the plastic that this bait is made out of feels decent. Again, it's not the most premium quality plastic. I would say though that the plastic is a little bit on the stiffer side when compared to other companies such as Berkley, Yum, and Strike King. But I think that's by design. I think the slight stiffness in the plastic actually helps with the overall profile of the bait. Imagine if these tentacles were made out of super soft plastic, they would lay really close to the body like this. However, with the stiffer plastic, they actually splay out a little bit, so you're gonna get a little bit of that flaring action when you pull this bait through the water. One thing that I noticed right out of the packaging is the actual size of the hook. As you can see, it does not use a very big hook when compared to the rest of the bait. Now, this worries me a little bit because this bait does have a larger profile in the water, so I would like to see a little bit of a larger hook. So that might cause some issues with actually hooking a fish. So that's a little bit of an overview and first impressions of this bait. I'm interested to see what this bait's gonna look like once I put it in the water. Let's take a look. So this is the bait under the water. As you can see, it does have a very interesting action. This action reminds me a little bit of a jig or a swim jig, but just times 10. It's got a very aggressive flaring action. Now, in my opinion, the best way to fish this bait is with a stop and go retrieve. So keep the bait moving and pop the rod tip in order to give it kind of a flaring action. Overall, I'd say the action is definitely interesting. It reminds me, honestly, of like watching an octopus swim through the water, which is interesting. However, I can't help but feel like I could get somewhat of a similar action just by fishing a normal swim jig. But there's only one way to find out for sure. Let's take this bait out in the water and try to catch a fish with it. All right, so I'm gonna hit up this little secret spot that I found. I know for a fact there's some nice hungry boys in here. And I have to traverse all of this wet grass, which means I'm gonna get absolutely soaked. There we go. Just gonna kind of twitch it along in here. Oh, missed him right there. There was one. Oh, there we go. Got him. Oh, had him. Shoot. Okay, there you go. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that was just my fault. I'm getting whacked. I'm just not hooking anything. Oh, I can't hook this fish. Yeah, just like that, you can see I didn't miss a fish. I just hit a little patch of weeds and this slid down just like that. So that's very, very annoying. Oh, bass right there. Bass came right at it. Okay, so we're making progress. At the last spot I fished, I actually got a fish to bite this lure even though I didn't hook it. And I am running out of time for the day. So I stopped off here at the pond. We're gonna throw the spidery thingy McBob, and I should be able to catch a fish out of here. I'm fishing this bait fairly fast because I want a more slender profile, something that would kind of resemble like a darting bluegill or something. Fishing it slower is gonna give it a little wider profile. And I know the bass in this pond don't really like huge lures, so I'm trying to fish this bait quick, try to get a reaction bite. Right up against the bank there. It's a great place to put it, right up in there. I want it real tight to these weeds. Oh, here we go. Yep, fish. Oh, see, I had one swirl on it. Fishing it quick. I should be able to see him just flash on it. Now look, I just caught a weed in the bait. Yeah, okay. And once this thing starts sliding, it'll just slide off more and more. So very frustrating. Yeah, they want it right up against the shore. Yeah, okay, there was another one hit it. So I'm getting hit. I'm getting a little frustrated now because I'm not able to hook anything. Giving it a little dart in action. See, right there, the fish totally grabbed it and I literally missed the fish. That was a good fish too. Okay, so I spent a couple hours fishing with this bait today and I have some thoughts. So the first thing I'll say is that the hook size did prove to be an issue. I had a number of fish hit this bait, in some cases absolutely engulf the bait in their mouth, and I could not hook them. I missed probably 5 or 6 fish today. Now, some of it I will say was user error. I made a couple of bad hook sets, but there was one specific time where I watched a bass come up, engulf this bait in its mouth, I set the hook, and the bait just flew right out of his mouth. The second reason why I believe I was missing a lot of fish is the actual profile of the bait. As you can see, it's got a fairly large profile, and so it's very easy for a bass to just grab a couple tentacles in its mouth, swim off with it, and when you set the hook, you're not gonna get anything. Whereas if you're fishing a jig, the tentacles are a lot smaller and a lot more compact, and so the bass has no choice but to inhale the whole thing. Another frustrating issue that I found with this bait is this. As you can see, this is the skirt of the bait right here, and this is the jig head. Now the skirt just simply snugs up on the jig head like so, and that is where the problem lies, because there is no keeper or anything to keep this skirt from sliding. And after I had a couple of fish hit this lure, the skirt began to slide down the jig head. Again, as you can see, there is no keeper, there's no texture, there's nothing on this jig head to keep that skirt from sliding. So that is how my day went fishing with this really weird lure. It was honestly fairly frustrating. I missed a lot of fish, like I said. One thing that I will say about this bait is that it did get me strikes. So that is a plus. We did have quite a bit of rain today, so that didn't help. I got rained out from the one fishing spot. However, I am not going to give up. I am going to catch a fish on this weird fishing lure if it's the last thing I do. I want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Eurotackle. As you guys know, Eurotackle has sponsored a number of videos on the channel already over the past year, I think, and I've thoroughly enjoyed using their products, especially their soft plastics, the B-Vibe, the Fat Assassin, and they have a bait called the Scud, which is this tiny little bait, are fantastic. Some of the best micro soft plastics I've ever used in my entire life, and the results show. I have caught all of these fish on Eurotackle products, and I think the products speak for themselves. They have great action in the water, the colors are great, the build quality is awesome, and I can't recommend them enough. If you guys want to pick up some Eurotackle baits for yourself, use the promo code Brendan Miller right here, and you're gonna get 10% off your purchase at Eurotackle.net. Again, thank you so much to Eurotackle for sponsoring this video. Now, back to weird fishing lures. Okay, so it is day 2 of fishing with this weird lure. I'm hoping to actually catch a fish with this lure today. And one of the things that I'm going to do is actually upgrade the hook size. I went ahead and slid this skirt off of this little guy right here, and I slid it on a proper jig head right here. As you can see, this hook has a way wider gap than this little thing right here. So this should help improve our hook setting ratio. So with the hook upgrade, let's take this bait back out on the water and see if I can actually catch a bass with it. All right, so we are headed back to the secret fishing spot for round 2. I got the weird lure set up. This time I got it rigged up on my spinning rod with some braid. Hopefully the fish are still in a biting mood. Last time I had a couple really good bites, so hopefully we can get bit with this thing. All right, back here at the secret location. Got the new upgraded bait here. Got him. Right by the bank. Good fish. Good bass right there. Now, do you see how easily I caught that fish? With a proper sized hook, this bait actually catches fish. Look at that. Right in the corner of the mouth. Right there on the little lure. Bada boom, bada bing. That was very easy. So what are my final thoughts on this weird lure by DeLong Lures? Well, I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't see myself putting this bait in my tackle box and using it on a regular basis, honestly. This bait is rather gimmicky in my personal opinion. There's plenty of other lures, namely jigs, that have a similar kind of profile and action in the water that do a way better job. I do, however, appreciate the weird, bizarre nature of this bait. Again, it's nothing I've really seen before, so I have to give points for creativity, but again, the execution and the overall design of this bait seems kind of thrown together, and in my opinion, is not that great. So guys, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Weird Fishing Lures. I had a lot of fun making it as well. Thank you again to the sponsor Eurotackle for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out in the link in the video description. And as always, stay hooked. I'll see you later.